Had the circumstances been different, one of Tom Petty's biggest hits could have ended up with the J. Geils Band instead. Rod Stewart did have a big hit with a Petty song he took for his own record. When you're an extremely prolific songwriter, there are plenty of stories like this of the things that happened or the ones that almost did. By the mid-90s, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers had amassed so much recorded material they were able to fill 3 discs of their 1995 box set Playback with a mixture of B-sides and unreleased songs. In the nearly 30 years since, thanks to additional archival releases, we've become aware of even more gems from Petty's catalog that were kept under wraps. We'll look at some of the best rarities that you should know if you haven't heard them yet. Let's start with the demo version of Don't Do Me Like That, which Petty originally recorded with his early band Mudcrutch years before he recorded it with the Heartbreakers for Damn the Torpedoes. Petty and the members of Mudcrutch laid down their version of the song in 1974, and the frontman wanted to give it to the J. Geils Band because he thought it fit their sound. The title came from a phrase Petty heard his dad use, and as you'll hear from the demo version, the roots of the hit song that we know and love were already there. 1979's Damn the Torpedoes album found Petty and the band working on material that came from a variety of places. Producer Jimmy Iovine encouraged the songwriter to look back at some of his earlier attempts, which is how Don't Do Me Like That finally found a home, and the same was true with Louisiana Rain, which had been written in 1975 for a potential Petty solo project following the end of Mudcrutch, but ultimately abandoned. Songs like the melancholy and laid-back Casadega were left on the sidelines, released only as B-sides. Listening now, Casadega easily could have been a solid single, but in the defense of the Petty camp, they had plenty of those on Damn the Torpedoes. Surrender is another gem in the group's catalog and one of the most well-traveled. The song, which features beautiful high harmonies from drummer Stan Lynch, was recorded multiple times through the years. In fact, the band took a stab at it for each of the first 3 records. It was first officially released in 2000 as the single from Anthology Through the Years, and the recording dates from that same time period. A recording from the Damn the Torpedoes era surfaced on the eventual deluxe edition for that record, but it's the 1976 demo that was issued on the posthumous An American Treasure box set that we recommend as the best version of what became a fan favorite despite its perennial outcast status. J.J. Cale's 13 Days was an occasional staple in the setlist at Petty shows, particularly in 1992 and 2003. Eventually, it was recorded during the sessions for 1994's Wildflowers and was in the running at that point when Petty was considering making it a double record, his producer Ryan Ulyate told Variety during a 2021 interview. It was still enough of an outlier that it ultimately didn't make the track listing that Petty sketched out for Wildflowers and all the rest, but it was finally released in 2021 as part of the Angel Dream revamp of She's the One. Fans who own 1989's Full Moon Fever will be familiar with the Apartment song, but they might not be aware that Petty first wrote the track during songwriting sessions for 1985's Southern Accents. Even better, Stevie Nicks showed up not long after he had written it, and the pair recorded a version where they shared the vocals, often in unison. Sadly, that version would go unheard for a number of years until it was thankfully finally issued on the Playback box set in 1995, more than a decade after it had been recorded. The sessions for 1982's Long After Dark produced a wealth of material, and according to guitarist Mike Campbell, that's the only reason that Keep a Little Soul, A Jangling Rocker, and Keeping Me Alive from that same period were left out of the album's track listing. When the tracks found their official home on the An American Treasure box set, Campbell commented that we loved those songs and we thought they were strong, they just didn't make the cut at that time. Listen to this song. It is amazing stuff from Tom Petty. Now consider that it was the first official recording that Petty made with Mudcrutch in 1973. As he himself recalled in later years, he and the band drove to Criteria Studios in Miami, recorded 2 takes of the song, and pressed it to a 45 single right away. It's no accident that the song has a feeling that's reminiscent of the Flying Burrito Brothers. Guitarist Tom Ledden's brother Bernie was a member of the Burritos at that time, and Petty says they were trying themselves to capture a bit of that feeling. The song was retitled slightly as Up in Mississippi Tonight when it was released on the Playback box set in the mid-90s. Producer Jimmy Iovine had brought hit records to Patti Smith and separately Stevie Nicks. He wanted to go for a third round and presented Ways to Be Wicked to Maria McKee and Lone Justice, but a stray comment that Petty made about the song in an interview made McKee mad. The Heartbreakers had recorded a version of the song for Damn the Torpedoes, and Petty said it was lame. They took another run at it during the sessions for Let Me Up, I've Had Enough, which you can find on the Playback box set, and Petty said that was the one. He notes that they only played it once that day, and that's the version that you'll hear. In the category of great lost Heartbreakers rockers, you need to hear this one, and also Can't Get Her Out from those same Let Me Up, I've Had Enough sessions. Both are classic Petty. Waiting for Tonight sounds like it could have been on Full Moon Fever, and for good reason. It emerged during a break in the sessions for that same record. Petty brought the members of the Heartbreakers in, and they invited all the Bangles to sing harmonies. Mike Campbell says that he doesn't know where the idea originated to bring them in, but it was a good one. The four Bangles worked out their vocal parts and tried a few different things, and the song was completed, though sadly, it would remain unreleased for more than half a decade before it finally was released on the playback box set. God's Gift to Man emerged in 1992 during a period prior to what would become known as the Wildflowers era. As Petty notes, the song emerged as a completely improvised jam that was laid down in one take just as you hear it. He went on to say at the time that the band was always at their best when they weren't thinking about what they were doing. These sessions were the beginning of the end for the Heartbreakers and Stan Lynch. In the liner notes for 1995's playback box set, Petty shares that as they started trying to work on putting the actual songs together, everything fell apart. Originally intended for the Wildflowers record and allegedly blocked by Warner Brothers because of the druggy lyrical material, Girl on LSD still became a fan favorite. It was released as a B-side and started getting some grassroots radio airplay. According to Mike Campbell, Petty was resistant to the idea of putting the song in the set list because he felt it was too goofy, which makes the live version that's included on the Wildflowers and All the Rest box set even more special. The Heartbreakers performed the version that's on the box in 2006 during a concert in Philly after Petty saw a fan in the audience who had a sign asking them to play it. He asked the audience to indulge them for a second as he tries to play it, and the result is a classic and perfect stream of consciousness take on the song. Leave Virginia Alone is one that you might be familiar with because of the version that Rod Stewart recorded, but wait until you hear Tom's version. There's the amazingly fully formed take that he recorded at home by himself, and then the full band version, both of which can be found on Wildflowers and All the Rest. Wildflowers producer Rick Rubin says it's one great Petty track that shouldn't have gotten away at the time. He says he's shocked that it was left off of the original record, and he specifically praises the bridge of Leave Virginia Alone, which he says is better than the hook of many songs. So there's some of the best Tom Petty rarities. Check out our playlist to hear all of the songs that we just mentioned. Find more Tom Petty by clicking the link in this video's description, and make sure to subscribe to our UCR channel here on YouTube for all of the best news and history of classic rock and pop culture.